At the last round, it was the Ryle Harris show. He is unstoppable. Ryle Harris takes 3 from 3. The perfect weekend. He's closing on the championship leader, but he's not happy.
I think my reverse race was pretty good until I got served up with a couple laps to go.
Harris gives him a little bit of a tap, and that's enough to unsettle the Ice Break Commodore.
You know, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win races, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Now it's the penultimate round at a track that has a history of upsetting the apple cart. Oh, Alsgood! Steve Benecki, who hits Cranbrook. Steve Robertson goes around and goes over. This is round 7, and the Auto 1 V8 Utes, protected by Armour All. Well, it's the penultimate round in the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series here at Sandown today. Jason Bargwana from Jana Living Racing, our regular co-drivers with us again, Bargs. And I've got a feeling, though, that there's one thing that could trip up the championship contenders this weekend.
Well, let me tell you, what we saw it up at Indy was some fantastic racing amongst the championship contenders. But we saw some crazy action in the middle of the field as well. So here it is, coming down to the wire, Sandown, hard racing. It should be really interesting.
The reverse grid format always is the thing that could trip a championship contender over. The reality is, though, there's probably 5 guys in this fight, but there's 2 that are at the peak of it.
I'm going to go for Ryle Harris. He's been the man of the moment. It's probably an easy one at the moment, but he is fast.
He's coming on strong. I'm going to go with Chris Pither. He leads the way in the championship coming into this weekend, but the reality remains that it's not quite a 2-horse race. Just 65 points separates the top 5 in the V8 Utes championship chase coming into this weekend. Kiwi champ Chris Pither holds an 18-point buffer over Ford-ace Ryle Harris, who is coming on strong with wins in the last 2 rounds. The VIP Pet Foods Falcon driver has won 5 of the last 6 races, while Pither hasn't won a race since Townsville in July. Pither, though, makes no apologies for his conservative approach in racking up the points and isn't prepared to take risks at this late stage of the championship.
I'll be very disappointed if I made a mistake overdriving the car at this part of the season and threw it away. So basically, it's mine to lose at this point. I've got what I think is a pretty comfy lead. I just need to be smart about it now and hold it together for another 2 rounds.
Harris has no qualms about adopting his usual strategy in a desperate effort to claim the lead.
I'm going to go there and be aggressive as I always am and just make good, clean passes if I have to. Otherwise, I'll just be out in front pulling away and I'm going to be eating my dust.
Ford-ace David Cedars started the year strongly, but is the last man to beat Harris this season. He's 3rd in the title chase, but needs some luck to steal some points from the top 2. While Nathan Pretty has been the quiet achiever of the year so far, up to 4th and becoming a regular podium visitor.
I'm really actually enjoying my racing again. I still don't enjoy people crashing into me though, there's no secret to that, but I'm actually enjoying running at the front now that we've actually, I guess, found a little bit of the formula. I do a little bit of practice out in the back blocks of Caroline Springs out there, and the window down, the arm out the window and my cowboy hat on.
Kim Jane racks up his 200th race start this weekend, becoming just the 6th driver in Ute Series history to achieve the feat. The Darwin round winner and 2008 Series runner-up won the round here the last time the Utes visited Sandown, and reckons that this year's title has been the toughest in the 8 years he's been in the series.
This year, with Cameron Conville and Nathan Pretty and a few of the other guys doing really well, it's right tough at the front of the pack, and it's hard trying to stay up there, really.
The Auto 1 wildcard this weekend is a familiar face. 2-time Bathurst 1000 winner, Tony Longhurst.
It's great to see all these young lads coming through. There's guys I'm racing with that weren't born when I was racing, so that feels funny. It's such a long time since I've been in a car. I had a drive in the Utes 18 months ago, but it's been about 4 or 5 years since I've raced, so I'm a bit rusty, to say the least.
Well, for the 3rd time in season 2011, David Cedars picks up the Armour All pole position. 32 championship points as well. They all count, and they will earn back points on the championship leaders. So Cedars, with points for qualifying, works his way a little closer. 5th to Harris is just 15 points. Pretty and Johnson are all tied up for fourth.
To race one highlights now, and atrocious conditions greeted the drivers as they lined up on the grid.
Cedars and McConville, front row of the grid. Kim Jane and Andrew Fisher on row 2. Hard to believe that practice was dry. It was 33 degrees and the weather's completely changed.
Yeah, Aaron, what we're going to watch here, it's going to be very, very slippery on this surface. It's wet for the first time, and the problem is here there's so many surface changes, so to get the Utes through the first corner in the wet, oh, this is exciting stuff.
Somehow, I'm just going to wait.
No, I was going to say,
they did make it through turn 1.
Don't go early. But as Cameron McConville, he's got a great start the way there from Holden and Cedars. And you can see the Utes coming through there. Now the problem's going to be up the back straight is the spray. It's unbelievable.
And up the inside there, that was Chris Walton, who's making his debut in the Ute Series. Comes from Saloon Cars, and he was muscling the reigning champ Grant Johnson, which I think means he's going all right.
He's having a bit of a crack, but this is one of the problems at Sandown as we on board with Jack Elsgood up the back straight. You cannot see in front of you. It's so hard to see up in the back straight.
McConville, though, has the clear vision. He's out in front. Look at this.
Harris.
Championship combatants. Harris is up the inside on Pether.
Cam McConville built up a 6-second lead, but that was all undone on lap 5.
Now, McConville says, though, he reckons that they've found a little demon tweak with this car. They've clicked something and it's really showing. But Peter Burnett, when it's up that far on the wheel, I get worried. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, first gear, reverse gear, none of them work in those conditions. Down into turn 1, one of the hardest places to get the car to stop.
Auto 1 replay, backs it in.
I think he thought he was braking in the dry there. He's just, he's come flying through the braking zone and, slide sideways off the circuit.
Parallel parking Sandown style.
After the restart, McConville again broke away from the ensuing danger.
On board with Andrew Fisher, over the top through the S's. Newland in car. That's Reese McNally in the Stratco Commodore, who did everything but run it off the road. But young Reese actually loves the wet. He's really relishing these conditions, but he won't like this. Fisher straight back down the inside.
It's very difficult across the top of the hill there. There's only one line, so McNally's got a little bit wide. Now Fisher's going to find himself on the outside. Kim Jane wants to buy into this action as well.
Down the inside, gets it done, but he's on the wrong side for the next one. Have a look at how much standing water there is on this circuit. Unbelievable. And just behind, Harris, Cedars and Pither, the top 3 in the championship.
And those guys, they don't want to make a mistake in these conditions. We're on board with Andrew Fisher there. This is one of the exciting parts about Sandown. Down the front straight, about here, the surface changes and the car starts aquaplaning. It's quite scary. There you go. Straight across that surface change. Kim Jane around the outside. Can he stay there?
Short answer, no.
Not near you.
Out wide, look at that. Cedars gets elbowed off the road in the background. Comes out from behind the curb and hits plenty of water. McNally steams through the inside. Look at all the mud. It's rallycross at Sandown. And have a look at this. This is Chris Walton again, making his mark, putting a nose up the inside of Chris Pether. But it's McNally and Kim Jane. SS Inductions in car through this kink down the back straight.
The wiper's working overtime there, trying to get rid of all that mud that McNally just sprayed over it. But it's given Kim Jane the chance to get up the inside now. He's on the right position to go over the top of the hill here.
I've seen too wide go over here. It doesn't work. Someone goes through the grass.
Not in these conditions.
He's going to hang there for a little bit, McNally, but he has to just fan off the throttle and file back into the line, and he's just going to cover it at Dandenong Road as Harris sneaks up the inside on Fisher. Remember, in the Ute Series, every position is worth 1 point.
And with these championship right down to the wire, every position's going to make a big difference. As you can see, Pither's trying to have a go with Cedars with Fisher as well.
Oh, he's tagged Harris. Gets into the back of the VIP Falcon, and around he goes. Harris through the mud. Walton as well. Cedars just passed 4 cars.
I was just going to say, and I actually don't think those guys lost too much in terms of position.
The melee for second allowed McConville to cruise to victory.
Check out the mud at the final turn. Absolute craziness in race 1. But this man has dominated. Cameron McConville and the Bundaberg Ute will take its first win of 2011. He has started Sandown. Jane second and McNally third.
And look at Ryle Harris. There he is. He's coming across the line in 4th place. There's Chris Pither, so he's got some points back on him.
And Pither is chased to the line by Danny Bazadzik in the second of the VIP Pet Foods Falcons. Couldn't quite steal a point or 2 away. Fisher 9th and Jack Elsgood rounds out the 10.
Well, Cam, that's the way to do it. Keep right out of trouble. Yeah, it was all happening in the mirror behind too. I could see them side by side, and every lap I came around there was more dirt across the track where people had been having excursions. So in the wet it's an advantage to be at the front after the first lap. Clear track, you can see where you're going, and finally we crack it for a win.
Stay with us after the break. It's the reverse grid. Race 2 at Sandown. Laps, and we've reversed the top 14 on the grid bug, so that sends Craig Donis to pole, and he's had the weekend from hell. He really should have stayed on holiday in Hawaii. He had an oil pressure drama in qualifying, so they went and changed the engine. Then he had no clutch and he was stuck in 4th gear in qualifying, so he's finally got his way to the front row of the grid.
Well, there's no doubt that Ute racing is pretty exciting. There's the race winner, Cameron Conville from race 1 on 14th on the grid. So he's got all that hard work to do again. Behind him, Charlie O'Brien. So it's going to make it quite interesting to see these faster guys come through.
Giannis Derhams, Brendan Cook, Ben Dunn, Tony Longhurst, who hasn't raced here since he last raced the V8 Supercar here when he filled in for Mark Scaife in 2007. Ryan Hansford has had a tough weekend so far, had a throttle issue on the last lap of race 1, and Nathan Pretty missed race 1 with an engine drama, so he will start at the back of the pack. So it's Craig Donis and Sean Carter on the front row, Nandy Kiss and Gary Baxter on row 2. Good even start from the front, and have a look at Chris Pether already starting to hack his way through the order.
So here we go, nice clean run into turn 1. We saw the guys in the weather, the wet weather get through okay in race 1, but race 2, let's see what happens in the first lap.
Donis leads. Oh, Elsgood, DBA in-car down the outside. You run out of road here.
Very quickly.
That's why everyone ends up on the grass there.
Yeah, if you're going to try and go around the outside there, you really need to get that done early, but the Ute action plenty. As we come up, this will be a first gear corner in these conditions, trying to get the car slowed down. Contact, bang,
Gary
crash.
Carson, the new FG Falcon is getting slammed.
Just no respect. No respect is there for the new car.
And I love, you know, in Ute, see at the bottom of the windscreens, every driver has to have a nickname. Tony Longhurst rocks up and they've given him No Baloney. Well, you can only thank Mike Raymond.
No baloney, Tony. So Craig Donis out in front. He's done a great job there from pole position. He's opened up a little bit of lead. You can see plenty of the action.
Nandy Kiss, Pacific Hoist Commodore, runs wide. He's got Mr. Damage in this series. That's a worry. Well, he's actually a smash repair man, but you never know what he could do.
And Nandy actually, I noticed just at the start there, the car was rolling slightly. Maybe I was the only one that picked it up, but Grant Johnson up the inside of Cedars, and McConville there, he's done a great job. He's already moved up a few places, and he's now putting pressure on Grant Johnson as well.
End of lap 1, Donis leads, Carter, then Baxter, then Pether, who is looking to make another spot on the run down to turn 1. Got to be careful here, on the brakes, locking it up. Baxter gets the move done. Pether makes it around the corner, tick.
So that was a nice move by Baxter up in second place now. And there's Chris Pether. Now, it's so important for him to get those points in this race, because obviously that championship now coming down to the right down to the last couple of rounds. It's so important to stay out of trouble in these reverse grid races. The one thing that can trip these drivers up.
And he wants as many cars as he can to be between he and Ryle Harris. NZ in-car with Craig Donis looking back at Baxter, who's got one heck of a run down the back straight going on.
Here he goes. He's going to use a bit of the green as well. And Baxter's got himself up to the, side by side. And nice move. He's got the toe up the back straight. Big headwind today, so that's really helped him up the back straight. Jack Elsgood in the background using all of the road, as is Grant Johnson. So they're pushing through all the way through the field.
Look, Harris lunges on Elsgood. It's not done yet, though, because DBA in-car shows that Elsgood will take that position back on the exit. Love the style of these cars. We missed them here last year. The last time we raced with the Utes at Sandown was 2009. They've already announced their calendar for next year. We'll kick it off again at the streets of the Clipsal 500. We're going back to Simmons Plains, and we're going to have the Utes at Winton again next year as well. Really looking forward to that.
Andrew Fisher now, he's got the toe, and he's pulled out to the inside. Can he get the braking manoeuvre done?
I was waiting. I didn't want to make an early call, but that's a yes.
Yeah, you never know in Ute racing, do you? So Andrew Fisher, he's now managed to find his way up to third place. So the battles are fourth place. The battles are raging all the way through, and it's Harris that's now really focusing, trying to get to Pether. There's Cameron McConville. He's done a great job. Moved up a number of spots already.
He's got Cedars, Jane, McNally, Charlie O'Brien. Have a look at the Congo line. From basically the lead to 20th, there's not much between them.
Well, Aaron, there's nothing between them as they're heading up the back straight now. All it takes is one little mistake in a battle like this. One little lock break, miss an apex, bounce off the curb the wrong way, and you can lose 3 or 4 spots. As we can see, Pither now, he's putting a lot of pressure on Dantas. He wants to get through to the lead of this race.
And he's got more car speed. It's clear, and now he lunges at Dandenong Road corner. Harris does the same on Carter. All from Sandown. Just a sec. Back at Sandown, and while we were away, remember that I said Nandy Kiss has called Mr. Damage? Well, he caused a little bit. He tapped David Cedars. It flipped the bonnet up on the Auto 1 replay, and he just couldn't see where he was going, but it got a little bit worse.
Yes, we've seen this happen up at the Gold Coast. We had a bonnet up there, but look at this. He has given Cedars an almighty 1-2, and then in the fence himself.
Been watching Kyle Busch a bit too much, I think, on YouTube possibly. That brought out the safety car, but this then happened. He got going. Wham!
Clearly didn't watch the replay from the Gold Coast because there's no way that bonnet was going to stay there. Back on the windscreen, but here we are after restart, and it's Chris Pither now. He is going to put pressure on Baxter. He's been one of the fastest cars out there, and he's going to try and find a way through because he wants those points. He wants to lead this race. Harris down the inside.
No, don't go there. Pither gets in the back of Baxter.
Contact.
Harris jumps up the inside. Now Fisher launches off the side of Harris. That is crazy stuff. Fisher's in the wall. Harris, has he got damage? Has Pither got damage? This is massive. And look who's making ground. Grant Johnson, the reigning champ, is right in among it. And what? Chris Walton, where's he come from? He came from 16th on the grid, on debut, and going for the lead.
And he's out in front now. So Chris Pither, I wonder if he's got damage to that car. There was contact everywhere there. And there's Royal Harris. He's in the background as well. So he's got that car going 3 wide into turn 1.
Walton is taking the lead. Johnson second.
Now, Royal Harris has got back on the track. You can see him in the background of that shot. So obviously we've still got our championship combatants out there fighting hard. I just can't believe that. There was cars going everywhere.
You know the operative part of that sentence was combatants. There's been plenty of it going on.
There's McConville. He's managed to...
Now, actually, that is not Royal Harris. That's Danny Bazadzik in the second VIP car that's at the tail of this queue. So Harris has disappeared off the leaderboard. That's the 72 car with damage to the right rear. Harris is nowhere to be found. In fact, he's in pit lane. This is massive with Pither up in the front.
Well, that's what it comes down to. Just one slight little mistake in these reverse grid races. We've got the yellow flag out now, so there's... Oh, we're still dirt tracking down the back straight. So then look out, there's cars going everywhere. Lock brakes.
Well, as long as you're on the grass before you get to the yellow, it's not so bad. That's why Andrew Fisher in the fence, but they're not going to bring out the safety car. They're going to try to get this one right through to the checkered flag. So Chris Walton, who's a star in saloon car racing, which if you don't know about it, it's Commodore and Falcon 6 cylinders. It basically took over from HQ Racing. He's turned up, he's made his Ute debut, he's been going well all weekend, and he's in the lead with 3 to go.
Now let's have a look here as Pither comes down. He's late on the brakes. Bit of contact between him and Harris. And it pushes him into Baxter. Ooh, who was involved in that one? It's hard to tell. But look at Fisher through the middle. Bang! Like a former Ford accident.
Now the thing is here, was it Harris drilling Pither into Baxter, or was Pither already into the back of Baxter? That's sort of the issue for me. But this is with Fisher. Auto 1 replay.
So obviously the 2 back wheels contacted there. It's thrown Fisher's car up in the air. And it would have done some damage to Harris's car, obviously.
Now, this is a better angle. Fisher just tries to squeeze. There's no room there at all. And I don't think Harris or Pither really deviated off where they were running. There just wasn't... It looked like there might be enough room, but he quickly found that there wasn't.
Yeah, no, the gap disappeared very quickly. But it's Chris Walton out in front. He's doing a great job. He's just opened that lead a little bit. You see some of the battles. There's Nathan Preddy. He's done a great job from the back of the grid.
Now, I didn't tell any of these drivers NZ Inco with Craig Donis before the start of this race. This is an important race in V8 Ute history. It's the 250th championship race. Clearly, they've stepped up for the occasion.
They have not disappointed, have they? We know that Ute racing can be fairly exciting. It certainly throws a lot of things in the air. Reverse grid races, look at that. There's bits hanging off all the cars. We love to see the action. And they haven't disappointed in the 250th birthday, the 250th race.
And that's about how many parts are going to be required from the spare parts department for the last race. Bazadzik didn't hit the fence. Amazing. He's taken over this car from Brad Patton this weekend. He's going to have to give it a clean, though.
He's going to have to repair it as well. So you can see there, he's run a little bit. Jack's gone wide. There's cars going everywhere there. They've all pushed him pretty hard. Jack's managed to stay on the track. And they're all recovered and got on with racing.
This is what it looked like from Kim Jane's viewpoint on the SS Inductions in car. He stayed on the track, they all stayed on the grass, and he got a couple of spots.
Kim's thinking, oh no, don't come back and hit me.
I tell you what, the guy just behind him, Ryan Hansford, he started 31st. He's charging his way through. At this rate, he's probably just about going to finish in the top 10.
That'll be a great effort, and obviously with Nathan Pretty as well. Both those guys off the back, they've done a great job to recover. But hey, all they've had to do is stay out of trouble, because there's trouble everywhere in a V8 Ute race.
So Chris Walton on his way home, he started 14th. Grant Johnson in second spot, he started 10th. You don't have to start in the top 10 very far up the grid to get a result in one of these when everybody else goes nuts.
And it's fair to say that Chris Walton in this race, it hasn't been a lucky win. Look at that gap he's pulled over the leading and the current championship winner, the #1 plate car. Look at the gap that he's pulled over him.
And he set the fastest lap of the race on the last time around, Bug. So this one's not a fluke. This is a rookie winner. Chris Walton, welcome to Ute Racing. Welcome to a Race 2 win.
A great result, Grant Johnson, and there's Chris Pither. Important points in that championship battle. So we obviously to get through, the battles continue. Cedars, he's under fire as well.
Ben Cabbage putting all the pressure on in the Workhorse Falcon. Cedars will survive. That was just a little bit crazy. I think I'm out of breath. I don't think I can do race 3.
That's not crazy. That's Ute Racing. Chris Walton, he takes out his first race on rookie debut, with Chris Pither third. That's an important one for the championship. Nathan Pretty in 11th place.
And that's from the back of the grid. Great drive.
And we've got Jack Elsgood there taking out 14th, right through the field. There's Royal Harris, 28th, 1 lap down. Although it's important points, it's not where he wants to be.
Chris, it's your debut in this series and you've scored a race win. That's incredible.
Yeah, there was a crash down the bottom end of the track. I come out of that in third, which was pretty good, so we gained 2 positions there. Then the 2 boys fought onto the front straight there, and then because they were fighting, I got a good run and we drove straight past them.
So I suggest we'll see a little bit more of you in this category then.
We'll see what comes up.
You can win a V8 race car drive with Fast Track Racing and a radio-controlled V8 Ute, all thanks to Extreme Clutches, Australia's largest range in high-performance clutches. Log on to extremeclutch.com.au and vote for your favourite extreme moment from each round for your chance to win. Check out the website for more details and for your competition winners.
Well, there's some action quota left. Race 3, the final from Sandown, after the break.
In a controlled category such as this one, any components fitted to the V8 Utes need to be up to the task for durability and consistency. When it comes to the suspension package, Quadrant is up to the task as the official supplier to the category for the past 6 years. They're almost as busy as the race teams, conducting random checks for compliance and damage, as well as offering service assistance to teams.
Double checking tampering, we're checking the dampening rates and the spring rates of the vehicles. They should be at a set standard with a minor tolerance in between, and they've got to come within that range. And if they don't, the officials will take care of it from there.
That ensures the competition stays on an even playing field, so we get to see the kind of high-speed door-to-door racing the fans love. For more info about V8 Utes, check out the website.
Race 3, the final of the weekend here at Sandown, and it's the combined points from the first 2 races that determine the grid. Danny Bazadzik is supposed to start 9th, but you can't start 9th when you're parked on the back straight, Buzz.
It's never a good position to be in, is it? And he's been called for a push there. So Cameron McConville, he has come to the top. He is now on pole position with Grant Johnson. He's going to start on the outside of the front row.
And the top 5 cars are all Commodores. The best of the Fords is our Race 2 winner, Chris Walton. Now, a couple of quick updates from the last race. Royal Harris is 15th. He was given a 26-second time penalty added to his race time, but it didn't adjust his position because he was the only driver who was 1 lap down. So he will start 15th. Chris Pither, his combatant in the championship, will start 3rd. A man who will not start is Nandy Kiss. He's been benched for this race as a result of what he did in race 2.
Well, we saw the action in race 2, and Nandy Kiss has been sent home. The red light's on. And racing. Cameron Conville gets a great start as he's pulled a little bit of a gap there on Grant Johnson, so Cam will lead into the first corner.
3 wide, just behind Cedars, O'Brien and Elsgood, but it's Cam McConville who leads Johnson and Pither. Let's watch for Ryle Harris. Can he carve his way through? He desperately needs to get to Pither. But remember, even if he finishes 1 or 2 or 3 spots in front of Pither, he's not earning back big chunks of points.
No, it's not a lot. He's really got to get about 10 spots in front of him if he can make any dent in that championship battle. But as you can see, we've managed to get through the first 3 or 4 corners in a Ute race. Yoo!
Just wait, this turn 5.
Sorry, I've gone early.
McConville in clear air, and that Bundaberg Commodores looked strong all weekend. Kept his nose largely out of trouble in race 2. We didn't see much of him. He did bend a steering arm in a clash in race 2, which is pretty standard when you get into the reverse grid format. But he's out in front and already clearing away.
There's no doubt that Cameron's experience as Walton comes down the inside, a little bit of contact with Baxter, but they get through racing cleanly. So McConville's experience is really paying off here this weekend, knows the circuit well, and as every time he's seen the lead, he's managed to pull that little gap.
And the Bundaberg team have been steadily building. Remember that he was on the podium on the Gold Coast, he was strong at Bathurst, he was up there in Townsville. They've really started to find what they need to get out of this car to succeed in this category as Harris starts that charge back through the field. Remember that there's 1 round to go with 3 races at Sydney Olympic Park for the final round, so he needs to maximise this one as Johnson hangs on. Pither goes the long way at turn 1, so you've got the current champion versus the guy who's trying to become the champion.
Pither tries to find a way around the outside. He's not going to go through there. It's about getting a clean exit now onto the back straight and then setting yourself up for that braking manoeuvre down into Walton on the inside of Jane. Jane ran a little bit wide, and Walton's actually helped him run a little bit wide there as well.
Notice there on the exit of turn 4, some new wall on the outside as part of the massive upgrades and redevelopments that the Melbourne Racing Club have been putting here together at Sandown. Walton's got the inside. He's going to have the run to the top of the hill. SS Inductions in car with Kim Jane. He ain't backing off. Has to now.
Walton's definitely got the line there. It's not too wide across the top of the mountain. It's top of the hill. It's a bit, it's a bit scary.
Oh, Elsgood lunging, locking up over the curb to try to avoid contact.
Don just gives him some room, which is great racing. Good to see.
And Elsgood saying that he's struggling for straight line speed this weekend. He really dipped out in qualifying because there was red flags that meant that he couldn't get the lap time and that he was trying. Harris over the curb and he bumps into Cedar's door now. He's starting to look desperate.
He's obviously knocked the wipers on there as well, so he is taking some risks, isn't he? He's got to get those points. He's got to get up to the back of Pither.
But you can't get points, Bugs, if you haven't got a straight car. If you go and rip a steering arm off it or do something silly, you don't get anything.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely a guaranteed fact. You've got to finish these races. He now knows that. Oh!
Bonus and Elsgood. They did it together. At least they went alone.
Well, we saw that battle go on a few corners ago. They've got to the end of the front straight. And, I'm not going to predict that one just yet. I'd like to see the replay.
Oh,
Here, let's see the replay.
You ask, you receive. Auto 1 replay. Uh-oh. It's all Jack. Sorry to say.
Sorry, Jack. A little bit late on the brakes there. You can hear the dip. The rear wheel's locked up. The car's skating in and contact.
Speaking of skating in, Charlie O'Brien down the inside on Cedars as he bites to the front, and Harris is going to go with him.
You remember these guys at Bathurst? They were weaving and swerving towards each other. So here they are finding themselves back on the racetrack again. Harris around the outside of Cedars. That'll give him track position for the run onto the front straight.
8 laps to go in race 3. More from Sandown when we come back. You're back with the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series here at Sandown. The fight for 10th place is raging. Charlie O'Brien, Ryle Harris and David Cedars are all disputing this spot. And Harris desperately wants to get through because it's worth another point. He tries to go outside on O'Brien. That was never going to work. Put himself in a position where there was just nothing to be gained from that.
What is he doing? Look, when you're trying to win a championship, you need friends out there. And when you're trying to give payback, when you're trying to rough people up, it's not going to work.
That's a really good point, Bugs. We've seen in recent weeks Tony Stewart in the States in NASCAR. All throughout the year, Smoke was really nice to people. He did a lot of favours. He didn't rough anyone up. And when it came time in the chase, he delivered because he could cash those points in. Unfortunately for Earl Harris, it looks like it's going the other way.
Well, Harris has got to get through, hasn't he? But the way to do it is not to... there you go. Bolton up the inside of Pither as well. He's got to be clean. He's got to be nice to these guys. He's not going to find a way through by trying to drive around the outside of Charlie O'Brien.
But Walton knew there that Pither probably wouldn't fight because he's got something far bigger to lose. Chris Walton's here. It's his first ever round. He's here on essentially a one-off. Maybe, we might see some more of him. It'd be great to see. But Pither will not fight someone who is really aiming at winning races.
Well, Pither's a talented young driver, plus he's got a bit of smarts about him as well. He's won the championship in New Zealand before in the Utes.
Yeah.
But here we go. Look at Roll Harris. Now, why would you try and turn to the outside of Charlie O'Brien, really?
I mean, it gets to a point where you do have to turn into the corner, though, Bargs.
Yeah, but you know you're going to end up the you know you're going to end up the gravel when you try it like that, I can tell you.
I love how Charlie's car sponsored by Future Assist. Been assisting Ryle.
A fair bit of assistance going on there, isn't there,
grass,
really?
Yeah, exactly. And what it does, they've both cost themselves a pile of spots. Walton is still on this charge. He's got by Grant Johnson, and that is for position 2. Only McConville is in front.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, he's just passed Pither lap before. He's caught and now had a crack at Grant Johnson as well. He is driving fantastically.
And he's flying the flag for Ford because it's really been a Commodore-dominated weekend. Johnson with some damage to the front, damage to the rear. Hopefully that bumper doesn't come any more loose and that attracts the attention of the stewards.
Yeah, hopefully they're not watching this image because that rear bumper is loose. All it's going to take is another little touch and it'll come flying off.
It's still quite strongly affixed. Here's Ryan Hansford. I mentioned earlier on that he charged through. In race 2, he went from 31st to 10th. So he and Nathan Pretty both started at the rear in race 2, so they've just joined forces with one another, really, and started carving their way forward. Of course, Ryan's dad, Greg, a winner here at the Sandown 500 with the great Alan Moffat in the days of the ANZ Sierra. And look at Charlie, parking it up the inside of the road and just trying to slow Ryle.
And Ryle's giving him a little bit of a tap.
Oh, don't like it, don't like it, don't like it. Harris on the outside. Oh, I'm not shocked, I'm not shocked. O'Brien gives him a bit of a rub, pushes him off through the sand, and then dings in a Hansford.
Goodness gracious.
But you could see that coming away, and that absolutely underlines my point. If you rough someone up a few rounds ago, the payback, not quite Nandy Kiss style, but it will come and it will cost you points.
Well, he was very lucky there, Harris, to get out of that sand pit. He's gone straight across the top of it, kept the loud pedal down.
Oh.
You can see Charlie O'Brien.
Charlie is just an animal today. He's getting into it with Craig Donis. He's going to rough up the camel.
Goodness gracious. The run great Craig Donis wide as well. So, yeah, I mean, Royal Harris, he gave Charlie a bit of a tap at Dandenong Road and it got to the next corner and went very pear-shaped for both.
You know whose job I'd really love right about now? Andrew Jones, driving standards observer. Actually, no, I was joking.
He's here we go. So this has obviously gone on now for a number of corners, for a number of laps. This battle, we've seen it happening.
So therefore, this bit doesn't surprise when you piece it together with the bit coming out of turn 4.
Right there, that could have been the end of Royal Harris Championship. So in these sorts of battles, you've got to be clever, you've got to be smart. And I've got to say, that is not the way you win championships.
So now he's got to fight back on Pretty and Hansford. And it just seems to be a shame that it's unravelling at the business end of the year when you need to perform. He's been so good during the year and he's won so much. But the thing is with the point score, even though you might clock up a whole pile of wins, if your main rival is second or third, you're not really taking big chunks of points away from him.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's about the consistency, and obviously in a situation like this, Ryle's burning up the brakes, he's burning up the tyres. Charlie O'Brien in pit lane. Now, is that a black flag, I hear? So he's going to be serving the pit lane drive-through penalty. I'm not exactly sure what that's all about, but clearly they've decided to give him one straight away because there was plenty of action going on there.
Warren Millett, the wake-up Commodore here just up in front. He had a really great run in qualifying. He missed practice because of business commitments and then turned up and had his best qualifying of the year. Maybe he should stay away on Fridays more often.
There you go. Something about that, I'm sure.
On board with Osgood, former champ, Cooper's Clear Falcon. Just hasn't been his year. It just never has really got cracking. Coming into the weekend, 7th in the championship.
We've seen Jack struggle a little bit this year. He hasn't been one of the front runners like we normally expect. But as you can see, he's going to push his way through and still try and get a great result here this weekend. We're back after the break with some more great Ute racing.
It's a fight for 11th place at Sandown, race 3, round 7 in the Auto 1 V8 Ute Series, protected by Armour All. And Jason Barguana, I'm glad Armour All are protected because these boys need it.
Yeah, they'll be going through some litres of Armour All into this one every weekend after Utes. We see plenty of damage on the cars. There's Roll Harris now. He's still trying to find a way through Nathan Pretty, or past, I should say, rather than through. He tried that with Charlie O'Brien, and it tended to not work. So these battles, they fire all the way through the field. They're even fighting for 12th, 13th, 14th place like it's the lead of the race.
Out in front, Cameron McConville has cleared away. Once again, looking back here at Kim Jane, Walter Johnson, Pither. That's the way that they run. This is the fight for 5th between two of the hardened seasoned veterans of the Ute category. Kim Jane, his 200th race start this weekend, and Gary Baxter, he's been around and pretty much done it all. I just love the snarl of these things. SS inductions, well, it's not an in-car because it's on the car. It's out car. It's not on a car, it's on a Ute.
It's backwards. It's checking out the deck and having a look at Baxter out the back. So the thing I love about these cars, they're on that tyre that's both a wet weather and a dry tyre. By the end of the weekend, the tyre's really done its work. We're getting to the end of race 3 and everything's tired. The brakes are tired, the tyres are tired, the car slides around a lot, and particularly here at Sandown, which is so hard on tyres. So it creates some great racing and creates some great passing opportunities. There's Chris Pither.
I noticed in the background too, Bugs, we haven't discussed it, that tyre wall and the cones, that's for if any cars go off the road at turn 1 and it stops them from going full pelt and rejoining at turn 3.
Yeah,
you have to negotiate through there.
Yeah, a couple of orange cones, they really stop them too. We've seen cars go straight through them, but the idea is to go through that chicane. But I'm sure these Ute guys, they know how to negotiate cones. They can do it all.
McConville's done it all. The Bundaberg Commodore, again, dominated. But look at Walton. He's going with him.
Well, I was just going to say, Walton's actually catching. He's closing that gap. Although McConville, he's looking after the tyres. He's just doing the job he has to do. But it's Walton that's the fastest man on the track. He's continually closing that gap, ever so slightly to McConville. But I think Cameron's got this one under control.
Well, Walton did a 25.29 back on lap 5, which is about 3/10 faster than the fastest time that McConville's managed to run in this race. But don't forget, he does have the track position. Pretty with a lock-up left front, which is always the one that you lock up at Dandenong Road corner.
A lot of load on the brakes. You're trying to turn the car. As I mentioned, the tyres are now tired. They've done their work for the weekend. There's only a couple of laps to go. And that's where Harris is struggling a little bit now. He's really worked that car hard to recover from that race 2 incident. So he's run out of everything and he's trying to find a way through on Nathan, but he's got his work cut out.
Not far from the end of this one. Sean Carter just up in front.
Hey!
Cook in the fence. Now, Greg Willis was leaving the side of that. I'm not sure if he was too involved. And Cook fires it up. And, I mean, I know it's not the Fujitsu series, but he didn't have to wipe out their sign.
He got on the gas a bit earlier there, didn't he? He was still on the green stuff, and then she just spun straight around into the sign. This battle continues. It's been going for a couple of laps now. It's been good, clean racing so far.
Yeah, because we got all the other stuff out of the way earlier on. It's great to see Nathan Pretty in a full-time drive this year. Cook, lunging, Auto 1 replay. Oh, cheeky. Forceful, got it done. Now, what happens? Oh, Willis. Oh. Now, that is a serve, if I have ever seen a serve. Okay, it's not quite an Andy Kiss, but it's not far off.
Goodness gracious, boys, what are we doing? We can't do this sort of thing. Come on. Poor Andrew Jones, he's got his work cut out for him, hasn't he?
Well, Bugs, if you're going to do it, at least disguise it a little bit.
Well, you know, I mean, you got to try and... Anyway, that's Ute racing, isn't it? So, what do they call it? Paybacks or whatever they say. So, Chris Pither there, he's still in control of that championship, still scoring the points, racking up the points. He doesn't have to push that hard, unlike the battle here for 4th, 5th and 6th. And McNally there, the damaged Commodore. Fisher.
What, like it's different from all the other Commodores? I think McConville's about the only straight one out there.
McConville, because he's been out in front, he's got clean air. Hansford now, down the inside of Carter. You've got Nathan Pretty and Roll Harris. That battle still continuing. Dontas, he's singing 14th place at the moment as the battle continues for 15th.
Ben Dunn up the inside and Warren Millett. A good chance there to see who's running where in the top half of the field, but we know where this guy is. See, this is the problem. When you're fast and you dominate and you're out in front, we don't get to see you much.
But the car is immaculate. Look at that. It's about the only ute out there that's dead straight as he negotiates the last couple of corners, makes his way past body parts, mud, dirt, grass, rocks, the whole lot. Cameron McConville, he has been fantastic this weekend. Used all that experience. He's dominated in the wet, dominated in the dry. Cameron McConville, he's going to win the weekend and race 3 at the same time. 2 race wins for the weekend, and the Conch wins at Sandown. Nice job. Chris Walton, hats off. That was stunning. He pushed him all the way to the end. He finishes in second and has really flown the flag for the Ford guys when the regular Ford runners really all fought amongst themselves. Great battle there. Kim Jane getting across the line in 5th place. It's David Cedars, the next championship combatant. He's come through in 7th. Here's the battle. Roll Harris, he doesn't make the top 10. He stays in 13th place. Couldn't find a way past Nathan Pretty, but that's going to hurt him in that championship battle.
Checking the results, McConville, Walton and Johnson. Kim James had a pretty solid weekend. He's 5th from Baxter. Then it's Cedars, McNally, Fisher and Ryan Hansford, who leads the Rookie of the Year award, rounds out the top 10. For the round result, McConville stands on top of the podium. Johnson and Jane will join him in an all-Commodore trio.
Well, Cam, a couple of race wins and a round win. Not a bad day in the office.
A good day, thank God. It's been a long, long time coming in this championship, so absolutely stoked. I think, you know, even when you win at any level in any category, it's always a nice feeling, and I haven't had that for a while, since the Gold Coast last year. So stoked for the Bundy boys, who really do put a lot of TLC into the ute, and that's what this series is all about, sort of dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
And in terms of the championship, the margin is now 46 points with 128 available in the final round in Sydney. McConville jumps to 6th, but Pither is in the driver's seat.
What a round to get out unscathed and extend your championship lead. Well done.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy about that. It was definitely a make or break round, I think, for the Osprey Racing team, and we did the job, so I'm wrapped.
Yeah, they sure did the job. Andrew Fisher picks up the Champion Spark Plugs Whole Shot Award for the best start of the weekend. $500 to the man from Jesus Racing. Ryan Hansford picks up the SS Inductions Hard Charger Award. He went from 31st to 10th in race 2. Nathan Pretty picked up the same spots but lost on a result of a countback. And it's Hansford who leads the way in the Rookie of the Year fight with a comfortable margin over Jake McNally. But it's all Commodores on the podium. McConville, Johnson and Jane. The title fight, it'll go down to Sydney.